Well, hello. Welcome to Talking About Speedway. Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with you. And Con Migro, we've been thoroughly entertained down at the Perth Motorplex Friday and Saturday night last week for in particular, the State Late Model Championship.
Yes, good to be with you, Graeme. It was a fabulous weekend. Of course, the season is getting close to the end, and we've seen some fabulous racing last Saturday night with sprint cars, speed cars, and of course the WA Late Model title, which no doubt we're going to go and talk about in length. But it was a fabulous weekend, and now we've got another week ahead of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got Wednesday coming up and then another weekend of racing. How good is it that we've got 5 days of racing in 9 days, specifically, I guess, for the Late Model Association and late model racing, but the good support racing in between time, the Silver Cup and the Gold Cup coming up and so on.
Well, as we know, we're going into uncharted waters as far as late models are concerned, because the race on Saturday night is a 100-lap event, and never before has that been attempted in Australia for particularly late models, although it's a big feature of American Speedway. So we wish the drivers and the promotion all the very best and hope that it really comes off in a great way for them.
Well, Con, let's go right back now to Friday night's racing, the LS1 Sprintcar State Championship, I should say, won handsomely by Troy Beckingham. What a great event that was.
It was a very good event. Troy can count his lucky stars, a third-generation racer. His granddad, Pop Beckingham, of course, his father, Brian, and now young Troy. But young driver led the race until about 5 or 6 from home, and then he lost a motor. That was disappointing for him. But good on you, Troy. A win's a win, and no matter where it happens, if it's on the last lap or the first lap, it's still worthwhile winning, and I congratulate you for it.
Well, you've said often, Con, on this program that the finish first you've got to finish, and that's exactly what these boys did. And in doing so, they put on a great display, I thought. So LS1s, I think, are a division that's coming forward and going forward.
They are. You're dead right, Graeme. And of course, when you look at them, they look no different to an ordinary sprint car. But of course, we know that they're running a lot of smaller motor. But nevertheless, the intent's there, and the racing's quite spectacular. And it gives a guy that maybe can't afford to raid up with the big boys an opportunity to come and race amongst his own fellow competitors and enjoy racing.
Absolutely. I just had the LS1 slides up, and now wingless feature, Con. That was a great event as well. Boy, they put in a great deal of effort in preparing their cars and racing them, and I think their racing has improved dramatically over the season.
Wow, what an event that was. Kye Blight, what a fabulous racer he is. Of course, I love him. The only thing that I'm disappointed with some of the wingless cars, their presentation of some of the cars are difficult. Particularly black cars on a black clay track, and some of their numbers, they might have like a white car with a white number or a silver number. I don't think they realise just how important is the numbers for the spectators that go to the event and to want to watch it, and also what a great opportunity they would have as far as merchandise is concerned if they start to get big names like young Kye Blight is a classic example. He could easily end up with a great following from the fans because he's such a fine racer.
Well, not only the fans, Con. I mean, you and I sit up in the Highline deck watching the racing, and I get confused. I can't make numbers out when they're going past me, and I keep on knocking your elbow and say, "Who's that, Con?" You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just for fans. I think you're quite right. They do need to have a look. They look great in the workshop when they're standing static and all that sort of stuff. But the contrast between colours, as you rightly say, and the size of the number. Does need a little bit of work and attention paid, so I hope some of those teams pay heed to that over the winter season.
Well, you know what it's going to be like when the Australian title is going to be held here in only a few weeks' time now.
Well, yeah.
There'll probably be close to 100 cars here. Now, if you can't identify some of the drivers, we're in for a hell of a worry as far as the spectator's concerned.
Yeah. Right, well, let's get back to the feature race. Joe McKenzie, Brandon Sharp and Travis Armstrong. What a great feature race. And unusually, no Iwanow name there, Con.
No, he tried hard. In fact, half a dozen from home, I thought he was going to at least be in the top 3, but he didn't. So it just shows you how good. But McKenzie's red hot from after racing his 360 in his open sprint car when he can afford to. So there's some pretty good talent there.
Con, I thought the weekend's racing, the track preparation and all of those sort of things was just superb. And You've got to pay credit to the Perth Motorplex, don't you? They do pay attention to all of the little details that go together to put a race, not just the racing on the track by the teams and drivers, but the whole spectacle.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, I know you're right. It's a very hard job. I always say it's a black art. Sometimes you can put one truckload of water on too much, and you've got a swimming pool, and you take one less, and you've got a dust bowl. But I think they got it right last week, and we were rewarded particularly with the A mains for the all divisions, like the speed cars, the late models, and the sprint car feature race was an absolute barn burner.
Well, we'll get onto that in a moment. But as I say, paying accolades to the Perth Motorplex, the presentation of the whole show, I think, is just outstanding. So we were there largely for the late model Speed Week, 5 nights of fury, and in particular over the weekend on the WA State Championship for these boys.
Yes, we were rewarded with some fabulous racing. On the Friday night, we saw Warren Oldfield take the A main, and deep down I thought, well, this is going to be his weekend. Well, it wasn't to be, as we all know. We know what happened Saturday night because Mr. Blight, the man from Albany, shows why he is without doubt the finest late model driver in this nation, and he must rate very highly on the international scene because he just put on a clinic.
Well, talking about late models in the state championship, Con, there was a huge number of cars, I think about 36 or 40 cars or something or other, and here's a fine picture from Alyssa's photography. All of the cars locked and loaded in the chute, ready to go out and do engine warm-ups and so on the Friday night. Quite spectacular when you look at that number of cars.
Yeah, it is spectacular, and it's a wonderful setup we've got at the Motorplex. You can see that green at the back. That's where they do the scrutineering and the weighing of the cars, and of course then we saw they get on the racetrack and away they go.
And Con, let's just go back to that one. Shane Catton from USA, I think desperately unlucky, but boy, did he show some speed on Friday night.
Yes, he did, and really he could account himself as very unfortunate not to have finished the A main on the Saturday night because he was shunted to the fence on the Friday night, and the car received a lot of damage to the structure of the back end and the likes, and they spent most of Saturday repairing that. And of course, when you're doing things in haste, you always find out something. And they did get going on the Saturday night, but things went from chocolates to boiled lollies.
Went pear-shaped pretty quick. I was watching them for a time doing some repairs on the car, and they were fairly major repairs as well, not only to the bodywork but underneath the car. So unfortunately it didn't work out for them, but he's certainly a great competitor. And in fact, Con, he won the feature race on Friday night. The first feature, they've split them into two to get all of the field into them. So Shane Catton, take a bow, USA, won that feature from Brad Blake, who put in a blinder, I thought, and Luke Halliday, again, a good drive from him.
Wasn't it amazing about Brad Blake? Sometimes you'll see him running around the track and you think he's nowhere, and then all of a sudden a big event comes like that, and Saturday night, I mean, he was just brilliant. Catton's a great driver. Luke Halliday has always been a very consistent driver, and I think young Shane, the man from Georgia, would have to feel very heartbroken about his Saturday night performance because his vehicle let him down.
Well, then let's go to feature race number 2 on Friday night qualifying. Warren Oldfield, what a race he put in to defend that position from Kye Blight, who was like a rocket ship, and Rod Massara, who again, considering the size engine he's got in that car, he put in a brilliant weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, well, this is where Blight really came to the top of the WASA because he used his brains. He knew he had to qualify, and it doesn't matter what you do. He knew on the Friday night, don't do dumb things. He drove, he survived, and now Saturday nights is the night that pays the money. Rod Massara all weekend was very good and very fast, and Warren Oldfield, well, he is a class act, and I suppose it's a shame in some respects that he probably doesn't have a similar sort of motor to what Blight has, because if he did, I think that you would see not necessarily a different result, but you'd be certainly seeing a different sort of atmosphere on the racetrack.
Now, Friday night, Con, we saw qualifying from the late models, which they don't normally do. I'm not sure whether I like late models qualifying as I do for sprint cars, but nonetheless, that was the program they had, and they had to do it. And they did it well, including Craig Vosbergen, who hasn't driven for all of the season and not much last season. He came out and set quick time.
He did. Well, I'd like to say to that, I'm not really a lover of that as well, but what I would like to have seen him do is put 5 cars on the track, separate them with a fair bit of ground between them, and do it that way. We've got the timing devices that can handle that and time the 5 cars. That way you don't have to sit there and watch 2 cars go around the track at different lengths of the ends of this track. It's very difficult to see. And that would add a little bit more pizzazz to the actual time trialling, but that's just a suggestion.
So as a result of all of the Friday night qualifying and the racing that took place, and it was desperate racing as well, Craig Vosbergen during the qualifying heats got a little bit exuberant and went into Shane Catton. Unfortunately, Shane shoved him out of the road and kept on going to win that particular race. But I think Friday night, to me, was all about building points and getting yourself in a good position for the feature race on the money night on Saturday night. I would have thought Craig's been around long enough to just ease off the throttle. He didn't have to win that. Just a second place would have given him plenty of points and elevated him up on the pole for the feature race. So, look, it's racing, and Craig coming out to say, well, I'm here and I'm going to show you how good I am. I haven't lost anything. But it was thoroughly entertaining. But as I say, it was absolutely unnecessary at that stage of the meeting.
Of course it was. And, of course, young Blight, well, when he, on the Saturday night, then showed us really why he's probably the best driver in this state, probably the best driver in this nation.
Well, he is the current Australian late model champion, is he? And that was his 3rd state title that he's won, Con. You have to admire him, don't you? And I'm not sure whether he was desperate on the Friday night when Warren won the feature to try and pass him and maybe bin it, or just sit there and get second point and do that. He's a very astute driver.
I would suggest that you're right. He's smart enough to know that on the Saturday night's the night and that's the race you've got to win if you want to get the title. And of course, there's no big accolades for the Friday night other than the fact that you've won it and you've got yourself a good starting position for the Saturday night. But when Saturday night, when it came to the business end, or I call them the money end of the races, that's where he was, and right out in front. And he absolutely, completely dictated the terms of virtually every driver in the race.
Well, there's the podium, Con. Kye Blight, Rod Massara, Warren Oldfield, and Kye's got his young son there with him proudly. He's a beautiful young lad. And Joe Chalmers finishing up in 4th place. Good drive from Joe. It
was a very good driver. And, of course, I was very impressed with Rod Massara all weekend through his heats and his A-mains. He finished a 2nd and a 3rd. Joe Chalmers, a wonderful talent. There's another young guy I know for a fact that if he had the sort of motors again that Blight had, and I know that Oldfield would love that. There's another young man that could be really taking it up to his level. But he's a very cheerful guy. His interviews with Chris Mitchell are very entertaining, and he makes no excuse. He just genuinely gives 100%.
Well, there we are. There's Kye with his young son again in front of the car with the championship decal in front of him. So what a good drive, and I'm looking forward to his progress during the week in the Humpdale Hustle on Wednesday, and then the 100 lapper on the Friday and Saturday, Con.
Well, looking at that photo of Kye, you know for sure that's the old saying, winners are grinners, and that's really absolutely, completely, you don't even have to say any more words about it. There he's a grin like a Cheshire cat.
Well, he's like that all the time, whether he wins or loses. He's a remarkable man, and only still young, as you can see. He's got a young family there, and he loves his son, loves his racing, and loves his life. So how good is that? Current Australian champion, and now adding a 3rd WA championship to his 2 that he already had. So
good on him.
A class act, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Con, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
The Asphalt Recyclers Australia Late Model Nationals 100 at the Perth Motorplex. 2 huge nights. For the first time ever, a battle of the late model nations over 100 laps. Stars from the USA, interstate invaders taking on the locals, side by side, wheel to wheel, door to door. Plus Saturday night, the Asphalt Recyclers Australia Sprintcar Gold Cup. Bring your family, bring your friends, grab your tickets, motorplex.com.au.
At Maddington Toyota, we're all about great deals, value, quality and service. Head to our website for quality new, demo and pre-owned vehicles with videos so you can find your perfect car. We can organise the details by phone and email and deliver the car right to you. Check out the entire Toyota range, plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our real commitment to great service. Maddington Toyota, great deals and great service. Oh, what a feeling.
Saturday Saturday night is Speedway Grand Final night. It all comes down to this, the Meriton Toyota Sprint Car Series Grand Final. This is your last chance to catch a huge night of Super Speedway plus monster fireworks, stars in the cars, Kingshot, Williamson, Manders and a cast to the fast, wheel to wheel, wing to wing, monster fireworks on and off the track. The best of the best battled out for Grand Final glory. Bring your mates, grab your Grand Final tickets, motorplex.com.au.
Well, welcome back to Talking About Speedway. Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with you. Con, we've spoken about the late models and they were spectacular over the weekend, but there was also some sprint car racing on the Saturday night, LS1s on the Friday night, sprint car racing on the Saturday night, and they didn't let us down with their Silver Cup campaign.
No, they did not, and their racing was superb as normal, and it was good to see Callum Williamson come out in the 26 car. He was like a duck to water. He got that car really circulating in the right direction. And again, another thing that you and I often report about, we know with the Dane Kingshot with Bunbury Toyota, and here's another example, another West Australian driver sitting in a car that's owned by a West Australian owner, and they certainly didn't disgrace the car.
Also from Bunbury, interestingly.
Yeah, the car's from Bunbury, but the drive's from Geraldton. So a bit of north and south.
So here we are, the heat winners, Caden Manders, Daniel Harding and Callum Williamson all performed brilliantly during those heat phases of the Saturday night's racing. They were just spectacular, Con. I thought, well, here we are. We're in for a brilliant night of sprint car racing, and so we were. It was just brilliant. And how good was this, Con? I'm just going to put this up now. AJ Nash there, the victor over Callum Williamson and Daniel Harding. What a good podium.
Well, there's another example of a third-generation racer. His grandfather, his father, his uncle, his cousins, they're all racing at the moment. And the school teacher from Midland, but he teaches up at Bullsbrook, did a wonderful job to win that A-main. I was at Knoxville many years ago when a great American driver, Bobby Allen, won the A-main there. Down on the curb, they call it the Bobby Allen line, and is exactly what that young man did on Saturday night. He stayed on the curb. He knew he didn't have the horsepower to get up there and match it with the big dogs. He stayed there, and he got his line in, dialed it in beautifully, and the rest is history. And what an ovation he got from the crowd. That was just fantastic.
Well, I'm not sure it was even about horsepower, Con, in the end. I mean, he chose that bottom line and he knew that he was going underneath very good cars and he stuck with it. And even Callum saw him and thought, oh, that's someone I'm overtaking, and then realised, no, it was someone overtaking him. So what a great drive from AJ. It's been a fair while between drinks for him, so to see him on the podium and to see the hard work paying off for him.
Yeah. Well, it's the old saying, if you try hard enough, long enough, you'll succeed. It takes a long, long time, but the young man's done it very well. We had it as a guest of ours some time ago in our show, and we know he's a wonderful talent, and now they've got the reward, and we tip our hat to them.
Talking about maiden feature wins, Cons, Patrick Watson in the Neville Lance Twin 14s. It happened to be a 28-lap race without a break, but that's his maiden feature win. What a great win for him.
Well, there's another guy. He's a grandfather, his dad, and now he is such a fine driver. It's just amazing that he won that race. He, again, used his head. He must have watched young Nash in the A-main for the sprint cars because he drove on a similar line and won that race. I felt very sorry for Tom Budapayat and Graeme Jones. Again, would you believe, another puncture? Now, I just cannot believe that can happen. That happened very early in the race, Graeme, and it appears to me that that's happened several times to the Jones car. Now, either it's the rims or something, but I just can't believe that he would have that same luck all the time, and it was bad luck.
Well, I saw Sally and Mick McCann as I was walking down from the Highline deck back down to the pits after the meeting, and I said, boy, I wouldn't mind a quid for every tyre that Tom's either had go flat or cut out. He did the same thing in the Australian Championship, if you remember, well in prominent position. So they were ruining the fact as well. And they also mentioned that Keenan Fleming also did the same thing on Saturday evening with his speed car, and it seemed to be showing a good turn of speed as well. So, unusual.
Yeah, I was very impressed with young Jake Robinson and Golding, who finished in third place. They had good numbers for the speed cars, and I think they're building strongly, and that's good to see because there's nothing like a good speed car race to get your hearts warmed up, and they're a great support division for the sprint cars.
And how about Neville Lance there? It was the Neville Lance Twin 14s. It's a regular feature on the Perth Motorplex calendar now, but Neville came out in his number 14, famous number 14 speed car, and did some laps in front of the field on the lead up to the feature race, and he got an itchy right foot and got the throttle down a little bit, but how good was it to see him out there?
I think a couple of times he might have forgotten what he was there for to doing, because he got a lap in front of him, or a lap behind him, however you want to put it, and he had to back up. But his interview with Chris Mitchell, he did say to young Chris that he really misses it, but thank God we've got him with us, because what he's been through with that cancer treatment has been horrible, and it's great to see him still there. He loves his Speedway and he loves his speed cars.
Well, there again is the podium. Jake Robinson, a great driver from him. Rob Golding, he's had a bit of success lately, hasn't he? He had some success down at Albany, and I think those three on the podium have got big futures.
They have. I want to know what this is with the beards with guys these days. Graeme, not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with it, but they're all wearing beards these days. Are they hiding from someone? But no, look, that was a great race and fantastic to see.
All right, well, moving on, Con, after the wash-up of the sprint car race on Saturday evening, we've got the Maddington Toyota sprint car points, and Dane Kingshot still leads the way, albeit he didn't have his best night.
No, he didn't, and wow, I mean, as I said, it's Dane's to lose. The chance of losing is very remote, I know, but look at this. It's only 116 points now. So he's Callum second with 2.730, then Caden Manners with 2.700, Daniel Harding 2.672, and Jason Kendrick with 2.578 in fifth position. So it's a great competition, if not for the win, at least for the minor places.
Well, when we reported on this point score last time out, it was a 124-point deficit that Callum had, but he's moved it down now to 116. As you know, last program, Con, I called Dane Kingshot as the eventual winner, and I'll stick to that. I think he's in an unassailable position, so we'll see how we go.
I'm not trying to change your mind, but let me say this to you, and I think on Saturday night, Dane was looking at the big picture as well. What was the use of him getting in and mixing it up and going away with no points? At least finishing in fifth place, he did take some points home, and that, when you get to this stage of the season, it's very important. So now it's a drive to the finish, because at the end of the year, the reward from Maddington Toyota is very special. It's more than the little Kit Kat and the can of Coke.
Oh, absolutely. And as it is with the Buoyant Upseller Sprint Car Driver of the Year, the Spirit of Speedway on SEN Radio, the Spirit of the Southwest. So even that's hotting up, Con. Let's just have a look at that. Let's see if I can bring that up for you. Dane Kingshot still leading on 117 points. Callum's bridged the gap a little on 88 points.
Yes, Caden in third place with 55, Daniel Harding with 43, and Andrew Priola with 18. And it looks like that Graeme and Con will be going down to Bunbury somewhere along the end of the season to share in a bit of a champus with the great man. But no matter how it finishes, let me say to you that Dane Kingshot has been the top dog this year in things. And I thought Callum Williamson going to the 26 cars, I repeat once again, it was a breath of fresh air, and the fans loved it. They love him. I've never known a driver to be loved like he is, and the bugles were still sounding in front of it, alongside of us, Graeme.
Absolutely. So there we are, current points, and our thanks to Buoyant Upsellers, Assured Learning Australia, King Chrome, and the Figlamini family for the lovely Michael Figlamini trophy that will be presented.
You know, Graeme, on Saturday night, this one coming, we've got a big show, as we all know, and we'll have Assured Learning as one of our guests, and it's our little way of saying thank you to them and for their tremendous support, because our recording studio out here at High Wycombe is given to us, or provided for us by Assured Learning, and to Kyle and his team, we certainly hope they have a wonderful night.
Con, let's just mention this on the Sprint Car Driver of the Year, the Buoyant Upseller Sprint Car Driver of the Year. I've just got to look at my notes here. 14 drivers have secured points over the season, and 7 drivers have scored maximum points on any 1 week. So that's quite an interesting statistic, isn't it?
And I suppose you'll find that Dane's been 5 of them.
Well, Dane Kingshot, Callum Williamson, Caden Manders, Daniel Harding, Taylor Milling, Brad Maiolo, and AJ Nash now. He scored a 9 maximum for his performance on Saturday night.
That's fantastic.
So absolute joy to see some of these things. And what I want to just put on the screen now, Con, we're running out of time. Cody Nash made his debut in 410s. Not particularly auspicious, but he'll get the hang of that because he's a fine driver, isn't he?
He is a fine driver. And again, he is the cousin of AJ Nash that won the A-Main on Saturday night. So, yeah, this young man, it's a baptism of fire. Let's face it, it's not a stroll in the park when you jump into those big monsters going around the track at 180, 190.
Yeah. And I also want to mention Bomber Lancaster, Ryan Lancaster, a beautifully prepared car, probably as good as any in the paddock, but I think he's destroyed probably about 9 of them so far this year, and you've just got a feel for him, don't you? I mean, some of them have been self-inflicted, but others have just been dreadful bad luck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's a hell of a nice young man. I don't know him that well, but he's a very quiet boy. And in fact, AJ Nash was saying to me on Saturday night, he's a real beaut guy. And I hate to see him with that rotten luck. And some of the people that have been saying some of the stuff, they just don't know what they're talking about. This is a tough industry to be in. And you know, we're not playing for tiddlywinks. We're out there playing in a big man sport. And these cars are very, very fast.
Yes, indeed. Okay, moving on, Con. Australian Formula 500 Championship held on the east coast of Australia, and our own Stephen Elwant finished up in 5th place.
Yes, I was happy for Stephen. He come from, I think, position 14. I felt very sorry for Cody Taraccio. He started on the front row. He had qualified well on the Friday night, and disappointing. I believe the track was fairly rough, but that's got nothing to do with what results were. But it shows you that Formula 500 is a game. That's another discipline of the sport. It's a pretty tough gig.
Oh yeah. Well, like our late models did for their state championship, they had 2 prelim A mains on the Friday night, and in fact, Cody Taraccio won one of those. He set quick time. He was 3rd fastest of 75 cars that nominated, and started off on the 2nd row in 4th place. So he was dreadfully unlucky, and I think there was a bit of a coming together with 2 Western Australian cars, as it turns out, which is unfortunate, but no malice involved, and unfortunately he didn't finish, but to Stephen's credit, to finish in 5th place was a great result.
Yeah, it's a disappointing for Cody because, let's face it, at the Motorplex, apart from one night, he's been virtually unbeatable, and to go to the national scene and again start to show the form that made him one of the guns of our sport in WA, and then to get in the A-Main and get taken out, well, that's just a bitter pill to swallow, but that's how tough this sport is.
So Terry Rankin is the new Australian champion, Victoria number 3. And as you can see, Stephen Element down there, 5th place from WA. So a good result for Stephen, and he deserves some luck because he hasn't had a lot of luck this season at the Perth Motorplex.
No, he hasn't, but you know, the other guys have got better. You know, that's the thing, that you've got to keep on always improving your race car. And I know he's trying all the time, but when you see what Taraccio's done and a couple of other guys, you can see how tough it is to stay in the field and at the top all the time.
And I just put that picture up, Con, because it shows the commitment that these guys make. Look at the team over there, all accommodation and travel. It's a big expense just to get your car and the team over there and race, isn't it?
It is, and it's the same old story. You and I have been belting our gums for some time about it. Not only just for the West Australian government and the West Australian tourism, but for all the states in Australia, the amount of money that's spent by Speedway races to go to national and state events is unbelievable. And now we've got a situation where there's just one Formula 500 team. You think, oh, they're a small car, they don't need a team. But they do, because a lot of work's required to keep these cars on the racetrack.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's a $2 billion industry, $2 billion plus industry per annum, Con. So Speedway injects a lot of money into the economy one way or t'other.
I would suggest to say that it's probably up there with all the sports as far as people that travel and fly and accommodation and cool drink and wire and petrol, you name it. So we are very much paying a way to the economy.
Well, talking about paying the way, don't forget, Con, Let's Talk Speedway, Wednesday afternoon, 1 p.m. on Sports Radio, 91.3 Sport FM. And then on Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, The Spirit of Speedway on SEN Radio, 6:21 a.m. So tune into those and get latest up-to-date news on what's happening in the Speedway world on the airwaves as you work or picnic or do whatever you do.
Yep. Can't improve that anymore, Graeme. You've done a great job, mate. Go to the top of the class.
And talking about what else to watch out for Let's Talk Sprint Cars on the big screen at the Perth Motorplex Saturday afternoons prior to racing. So that just brings you up to speed a little bit with what's happened and what's coming up as well.
Correct.
So, Con, that's our bloomin' lot for this week on talking about Speedway. And been a big program, and we've got some terrific racing coming up, Con, Wednesday and then Friday and Saturday of this week coming. So a smorgasbord of racing, including a 100-lapper for late models. How good will that be?
Yep, I look forward to being with you, Graeme, over the weekend. And on Wednesday night, we've got some special guests. We're going the Kwinana Industrial Association will be our special guest, so a great night. So looking forward to being with you, G.
All right, Con, thanks for your company. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the program, and we'll see you this time next week on Talking About Speedway. Bye for now.